guys, we really have a celebration of everything that's great about local Mourne seafood. Now, before we start cooking, a couple of little things I want to run through with you quickly. Whenever you get your food packs, take out all the ingredients, see what's there, read through the recipes, the method a couple of times, watch the video, okay? So, cooking great food is all about preparation and knowing what you're doing, okay? Familiarise yourself with the ingredients, with the recipes before you start cooking. Okay, now on to our starter. These beautiful Strangford mussels, some fennel, fresh fennel, some dill, a little bit of double cream, and a little bit of white wine. Now, to begin, we need to clean our mussels. Okay, now this isn't a big job. I'll go through it quickly. So, put onto the bench nice and flat. Now, these are beautiful Strangford mussels. Now, these are rope cultivated mussels as opposed to bed cultivated mussels. Okay, so the main difference. Rope cultivated mussels, they're a lot cleaner. They're grown in ropes down into the ocean. Bed cultivated ones are grown on beds on the ocean floor, so they can be quite dirty and gritty. Now, over the years, I've cooked hundreds of thousands of mussels. Okay, and a lot of the time, when you're using bed cultivated mussels, once they open, they're full of grit, and your dish is completely spoiled, and you have to start again. So with rope cultivated mussels, you don't get that. They're always nice and clean. Just checking now if there's any open, like this. Now, that doesn't mean automatically mean to say it's bad. It could be having a little breather. So you give it a little squeeze, a little tap. Okay, and it closes over again. So if it closes over again, it's completely fine. If it doesn't close, it stays open, then just discard it. Okay, there we go. Okay, a little bit hanging down there is the beard, so you just pop that out and remove it. Okay, there's one with a little crack, just discard that. And the rest of these are pretty good. So these are nice and clean. All you have to do is remove that little beard, just a little pull, that is it. And make sure they're all nice and closed. So being all chefy and technically here, this part of the operation is called your mise en place, okay, which is a French culinary term, literally translates to everything in its place. So I'll be getting your preparation done before you start your cooking job. So onto your fennel, okay? Now, I'm going to remove these little stalks at the top. They're called the fonts. Now, these are quite tough, not a lot of flavour in them, okay? So what we do, we use those for the likes of fish stock, if you're making your own fresh fish stock. So just remove those. Keep the little herb at the top, okay? So we'll use that. All the flavour is in that lovely bulb. So split it in half down the middle. Okay, and we'll see a little core up the middle. Just remove that. Just cut into a little V. Okay, remove that little root. Okay, and we're going to chiffonade this fennel. Okay, again, it's another French culinary term, and that means finely shredded, finely sliced. Now, the reason we chiffonade, and we'll get this as fine as we possibly can, guys, okay? So the finer it is, the quicker and more flavour you extract. Because this dish from start to finish only takes a couple of minutes, okay? So we need to get as much flavour out of the fennel as quickly as possible. So if you just roughly chop that in big chunks, you're not going to get a lot of flavour, and it's going to take a long time to get that flavour. So as fine as possible, a lot of flavour really quickly. So, I'll chiffonade one half and show you the technique with the other half, okay? So your knife never leaves the board, guys. The tip of your knife is always on the board, okay? And we're always cutting forward and down. Forward and down. Okay, so you're getting that super, super fine, okay? A lot of flavour really quickly. Pop it over. Whatever is comfortable for you. Okay, so there we go, and your little container. So the technique for that, guys, okay, so it's a 3-finger rule. So your middle finger is slightly out, 2 fingers just behind, and you're making a little claw with your hand, so you're resting on your nails. Your knife completely flat against that middle finger, starting at the tip, push forward to the base of the knife. Just bring it back, push forward and down. Okay, so you have a nice rocking motion, alright? Forward and down, forward and down. So you don't have to do super fast around the go, okay, you just take your time. Okay, so it's always technique before speed. And once you get the technique nailed, then you can work on your speed. Okay? But the important thing, remember, guys, as fine as you possibly can. Okay? On to the herbs. Okay, so a little mixture of the fennel herb and the dill. So just fold that over nice and tight, and again, we're going to chiffonade it. So same rules apply, guys. The finer we get the herb, the more flavour you shall get from it. So we need a pot with a lid, guys, okay? Put your pot on the highest heat. Okay, so there's nothing else in this pot, completely dry pot, okay? On the highest heat. So I want that really, really hot before we're going with the mussels. So we're putting the mussels in a dry pot, okay? So there's nothing else going in. There's no wine or anything else in yet. Okay, pan nice and hot. So just carefully in with the mussels. Move the lid, give it a little shake. Okay, you can hear that bubbling in there. Okay, there's nothing in that pot, just the hot pot and the mussels. So what's going to happen? Okay, so the mussels are in there, obviously heating up. So they want to cool down, so they open up and start to put out all the lovely flavoursome water inside. Okay, now that's what gives your mussel, the mussel dish, that lovely flavour, is that lovely seawater inside. Now if you go in with the wine first or other ingredients, you want to dilute that lovely flavour, guys, okay? So start off just the mussels in the pot, that's it. To show you how much liquid actually comes out of the mussels, okay? Now you don't have to do this at home, this is just to show you. So, that's the mussels, beautifully open. Remember, completely dry pan, just the mussels going in. And look how much liquid was in that, okay? And it's pure flavour soaked back in, guys. Now the worst thing you can do with the mussels, with any seafood, is overcook them, okay? So this dish is to be cooked really, really quickly. So as soon as those mussels open, I'm going in with the fennel. Okay, and in with the white wine now. Lid back on. Little shake around, okay? So all we're doing here is bringing that wine up to heat, and that is it. So once you see that wine coming up to heat and bubbling, we're in with the cream. Okay, so lovely rich Irish double cream there. Little shake again. And we're just bringing that cream up to the heat. Okay, so now check your seasoning, guys. Okay, so don't season through the cooking process this time. Actually, salty water, okay? So you might not even need to season. Tiny, tiny pinch of sea salt. Let it shake around. I'm going to go in with half the herbs. Make sure you get a good even share of the fennel. Okay, so that fennel is an aniseed, okay? And that, whenever I do this class, it puts a lot of people off until they taste it. So the fennel is given just a little undertone, a little tiny flavour profile of that slight aniseed, which works amazingly well with the natural flavour of the mussels. Okay. Pour that beautiful cooking broth, and that's all your flavours from. Finish off with the rest of your herbs. This dish is designed, okay, but as simple as possible for you, that when your fish is ready in the oven, your ragu will be ready too, okay? Now, fish in the oven first. Now we'll have this beautiful hake. Now look at that. Hake is beautiful, moist, meaty fish. So, little baking tray lined with greaseproof paper or baking parchment. Fish skin side down. Okay, now I'll explain later why the skin is on this. We have our panko breadcrumbs, which is the Japanese dry roasted breadcrumbs. Parmesan already in here. One of your little pots of parsley. In we go. A little drizzle of this beautiful liquid here. Okay, so this is beautiful golden rapeseed oil. We'll give that a little mix through, so the oil just helps bring it all together. Once more. Parmesan mix on top of the fish. Now when we put this on, okay, we'll do make sure every little part of the top of the fish is covered with breadcrumbs and parmesan. Okay, and a good firm press down. Once it's all covered, just remove the excess. So if you left these breadcrumbs on the tray, these will just burn, okay? So just remove the excess. Okay. So there we are, nice and neat. breadcrumbs completely covering all the fish. Now you notice it didn't season the fish at all because of the salt content. Parmesan can be quite salty, so we didn't season the fish at all. Okay, so you're going to pop this in the oven. This will take between 10 to 15 minutes, okay? And by that time, your ragu will be ready. Now, a little tip for when you go into the oven, okay? With fan-assisted ovens, if you just want to get a big spoons here, if you want to get a couple little teaspoons or forks or anything, either side of the paper, okay? So that stops the fan blowing the paper over the top of the fish. The fish in the oven, okay, as I say, about 15 minutes at 185. Now, what's going to happen then? The Parmesan is going to melt through those breadcrumbs and you're going to end up with lovely brown, crispy Parmesan crust on top of your fish. So on to the ragu now, okay? Now remember from the mussels, we do our mise en place first. Get everything ready first before we begin cooking. So not a lot to do in this one. So we have our shallots. So just cut those in half. The same technique as I showed you for the fennel. A nice little chiffonade. Remember, as fine as you can, a lot of flavour really quickly. Okay, shallots nice and chiffonade. Now, our garlic. So guys, we're not going to chop our garlic. We're not going to use a nasty garlic press. We're going to grate our garlic. Now, we do this for two main reasons, okay? First reason is you get a lovely paste which just dissolves into what we're cooking, so you're not left with any little chunks of garlic. And secondly, and more importantly, when you grate your garlic, you're releasing all the oil. So that's where the flavour of garlic comes from, the oil, which doesn't get released properly if you just chop it or use a garlic press. So, pan on the heat, guys. So medium to high heat here, okay? 1 tablespoon rapeseed oil. So we're just going to wait till that heats up. Okay, oil nice and warm, in with our shallots. Okay, you want to hear that sizzle. And with your garlic. We're just going to soften this down, okay? So you don't want to brown it, you just want to soften it down. Particularly because there's garlic in the pan as well. If you brown the garlic, it's going to go very bitter and just ruin your sauce, okay? So you don't want to brown anything, just lightly soften. A little pinch of sea salt, just to enhance those flavours. And just let that soften down. So while that's cooking, guys, I'll tell you why I'm using shallots instead of, say, just a normal white onion. So your normal white onion is really high in water content, up to 70% water. So if we made this beautiful, rich seafood ragu with a normal onion, the high water content will actually dilute, will actually take away from the flavour. So by using shallot, as opposed to 70% water, shallot's only 5 to 6% water, so you're getting almost that full flavour of the shallot without the high water content taken away from the flavour. And of course that goes for everything you cook, guys. So, shallots nicely softened down. In with our tomato puree. In we go. So you have to cook your tomato puree out. So just push it down in the back of your spoon or spatula. And just let that cook out for a minute or so. Okay, so your shallots and garlic have taken on the flavour of tomato puree. I'm now going in with the white wine. Okay, so we're going to reduce this white wine. What happens when you reduce the white wine? You're burning off the alcohol, but you're retaining the nice flavour of the wine. And when you reduce something, you're concentrating the flavour. So in with the white wine. That will reduce, that will evaporate quite quickly. So you're still left with lovely flavour. Now in with our fresh fish stock. Okay, so we're going to reduce that by half. Again, concentrating the flavour. So just pop the heat up to full, just to reduce that down. Okay, now what we're going to do, guys, is taste the ragu throughout the whole cooking process. Now, what that is doing is you're training your palate. Now, you'll notice a change in the flavour profiles when you reduce something, when you season something, when you add a new ingredient. So, this is something that comes with experience. So keep tasting the whole time you're cooking just to train your palate, give yourself a better palate for cooking. Now, that's just right down. Now we're going in with the chopped tomatoes. Now we're going with the chopped tomatoes. So at this stage, we're going in with our seafood, okay? Our prawns or crab or cod or mussel meat, our beautiful langoustine, and our fresh mussels. Now, I'm just going to reduce the heat now by half and let that slowly simmer, let all of those lovely flavours emulsify and let the mussels open. So as before guys, the mussels don't open, don't use them. Seafood in. Now I'm going with the little new boiled potatoes, so I've just quartered these. Just pop these in as well. Some more ingredients in there guys. We're cooking away. Again, give it a little taste. And notice a change in the flavour with everything that we add. That's a good way, as I say, to train your palate. I'm going to add a little pinch of sea salt. Just let that simmer there for a few minutes. Okay folks, so you can see there, our mussels nicely open. So we're almost ready to finish this off. Okay, so one of the last things, unsalted butter. Now just pop it in and gently swirl that around. Okay, so what it's going to do, the butter is going to emulsify everything together. Just have that lovely silky velvet touch to the very end. Okay, so just swirl that around constantly until the butter is melted. Now, I always use unsalted butter while cooking. Okay, the simple reason that we season while we cook, and if you use normal, say household salted butter, which is a super product, but it can be quite salty. So if you're cooking with that and you're seasoning, you might have a tendency to over-season, over-salt your dish. So I always cook with unsalted butter for that reason. Now, check seasoning again. Beautiful little pinch of sea salt, and just before we serve, get your baby spinach in there, and that will just wilt down into your ragu. Straight if you want. Beautiful. And we're almost ready to serve guys. Just I'll go and check the fish and we're almost there. Okay guys, now there we are. Look at that beautiful brown crust. Okay, so when you reach that stage with your crust, beautiful brown, and parmesan's melted through it, stunning, that's your fish ready. Okay? Now just set it aside a little second. Remove our langoustine, okay? And then just spoon it in that beautiful ragu into the centre of your plate. So this really is a complete dish in one guys, okay? We've got beautiful stunning Northern Irish seafood. We have our new potatoes in here, we've got the starch, we've got that beautiful baby spinach. Now our fish. So the easiest way to do this, just get a fish slice or a spatula. Now you're gently sliding underneath. Okay, now if you cook this properly, the skin is left on the parchment paper, okay? Now, put the skin down first. So the skin, the fish is not in direct contact. So if I left the skin on that and just put it on, that would stick to it, okay? So by keeping the skin on, there's a little barrier there between the fish and the direct heat, keeping it nice and moist. So, fish onto that beautiful shellfish ragu. Take our little langoustine. There we go. Now I'm going to finish this dish. Okay. Now this just lifts it, just elevates it at the last second. I'm going to give it a little drizzle. So this is some lemon infused rapeseed oil, and that cuts through the acidity of the tomatoes as well. It just lifts that dish at the very, very end. And there we go, guys. Now, you'd be happy to get that dish in any restaurant in Northern Ireland. So there is our beautiful Parmesan baked egg, shellfish ragu, baby spinach, baby potatoes. Beautiful. Just quickly show you how to eat your langoustine. Okay, so head, tail, just in the center, just twist, and the tail comes right off. Okay, now, we tend not to do it over here, but you know, very European, very continental. See if you suck the head, that's where all the flavour is. Amazing flavour inside the head. Okay, now, the tail. So, you can see, the little sections running the whole way down, okay? So you just, thumb and finger just squeeze together to hear the little crack. Okay? And then peel each of those little sections back. Just like you're peeling the section of an orange. Okay? And out comes that beautiful, sweet milk steamed meat. Okay? That's how you peel and eat on milk steamed meat. Okay? Thank you very much and enjoy.